Yep. Okay.
Oh,
Nathan. Yep.
Chris, it's good.
Is Matt coming down?
yeah, we're all. The cowbells are out inside the Alder Street Arena here in Orangeville, Ontario, and that can only mean one thing. It's time for Nova Scotia lacrosse as they face the Saskatchewan SWAT here as we get set to start. Game number 2, our player to watch for the Saskatchewan SWAT, Caleb Curry. A goal and 2 assists yesterday. He was a top player for Saskatchewan in their Game 1 loss in yesterday morning's game. And Team Nova Scotia, Alex Bunier, one of their top players. It'll be interesting to see both of these teams come back and see how they rebound. Both 0-1. This could be the tournament for both sides. That's Derek Martin McKelvey and Chris Susi up in the booth providing commentary for game number 1, free on YouTube thanks to the Toronto Rock. For today, all 4 games on the schedule will be free once again on our YouTube channel here, 2016 Founders Cup. It's a bit of a rough start for both teams as Nova Scotia, their captain, rings one off the iron, and this one goes down the floor. White jerseys, blue shorts, working right to left on your screen here for Nova Scotia. In period number 1, and it'll be Brett Draper bringing it up over center. As a pick in front of Draper, he'll roll around backwards, and now back to the captain again, Bobby Green. Green rolls around a pick, and immediately we can see more chemistry. That was starting to build for this Nova Scotia team. It is an all-star team that hasn't played pretty much any lacrosse in about a month here.
As the game went on yesterday, they got better and better. It was 7-0 after the first, but it was, if you count the last 2 periods, it was a 6-4 difference.
Saw a little mini practice happening before unofficial warm-up as well this morning. Getting some guys kind of on the same page, and already all over Saskatchewan, they put a triple team on the ball carrier.
Yeah, Coach Brendan Sanderson made a few adjustments up top, so there should be some more shots to the net today.
We're already seeing that in the first minute and a half here. Worth noting that Trent Gray out of the First Nations Lacrosse League is on the floor along with Matt Khalif from Ontario. Maurice Getz, the Nova Scotia official, is the standby as the first goal goes the way of Nova Scotia. As with Brett
Bobby
Draper,
Green.
Bobby Green, pardon me.
Bobby
Up
Green.
top.
Bobby Green had a really good game yesterday, I thought, and you mentioned it, Chris, how he wants to have a big tournament, put up a lot of points, and seemed like the offense was really running through him, and that's a great start as he fires one home to make it 1-0 for Nova Scotia.
Understand we've got a lot of Nova Scotia fans tuning in on lunch break. It is about noon out on the East Coast, just past 11 o'clock Eastern time here in Ontario. And that would make it either 9 or 10, something like that in Saskatchewan. So uniting the country here at the Junior B Canadian Finals. As immediately back to the net, here comes Saskatchewan again. Alex Taylor this time, and we're going to get a penalty. Parker Mikulishin going off. I believe it's a high stick being called down in the corner by Trent Bray.
Well, I thought yesterday Saskatchewan really never had a chance to get anything going, as Calgary was all over them from start to finish. Whereas with Nova Scotia, and Chris brought up the point, the second and third period they played really well, stayed right with the Green Gales. So yesterday you could see that chemistry really building with Nova Scotia, whereas Saskatchewan, they still have yet to get anything going, and they're off to easy to say, a pretty poor start here. Now down a man, they're going to have to come up with a big penalty kill.
Down a goal and a man, as this is one of the things we saw them working on before their warm-up in the Nova Scotia club, was the power play unit. As they go up top for Bobby Green, he rips his shot again, and that's into the feet of Evan Bolak, the starting netminder for the SWAT. Coming out of the net to play it the other way is Ben Faulkner.
No, that's Aiden.
Oh, pardon me, Aiden Piero.
Yep.
Getting the start.
Ben played great for us yesterday, too.
Not a lot really expected from either of these two teams in this tournament, but it'll be interesting to see how they gel as this one goes on and how they improve. And I think this could be the best matchup for both of these two teams in this pretty strong group. Along with Calgary and, of course, the Green Gales, who will play later this afternoon.
Definitely a huge game for the boys in blue.
Top Bobby Green going into the corner. Looking there for Dalton Brown, who tries to send it to the far side for Gaten Tremblay. That one just skips away. Back up top for Green again, who sends one through. And in the corner, Tremblay nicely picked up there on the rebound, and 30 seconds remains here in the power play as Tremblay goes to the net. Save made by Bolak, though, and fresh 30 seconds here as they reset. That one caused a few fans to cheer as it bounced off the backboards and ended up rippling the mesh on the backside of the net. As the ball carrier taken down here late in the 10 count, although the referee not counting it, as now the shot clock hits 20, 19-18, and they get over center, but the ball's turned over anyways as Nova Scotia gets over center, and that'll do it for their power play. A lot of action in the net, in the zone rather, to our left so far. Definitely a much better performance from Nova Scotia here, as that could set up a pretty good game. We'll see what the Calgary Chill can do against the Green Gales later this afternoon, but looking ahead to tomorrow as Nova Scotia plays Calgary, that could be a good matchup.
I really think so. I'm not sure. Yesterday we really got to see the best out of Calgary because Saskatchewan just had their struggle.
Big hit there on Jenna Nash as she stepped up. That one knocked the stick out of her hands as Alex Bungay runs down into the corner. Bolak still making the save, though. This is the offensive unit still stuck on the floor for Saskatchewan as they now get over center. And a couple players electing to stay on, including Liam McMaster. Pushes it into the corner. Some extra shoving afterwards here, though, as Adam Connor taking exception to the proximity of the glass there. And he goes right back at his man.
No backing down.
I believe it's going to say Cole Welter, but it looks like Preston Watke. Aiden Piero, starting netminder. He's played the ball a couple times, but still yet to be tested. 3-on-1, they've got a man on the crease, and out about the recovery from Bolak. As Evan Bolak, the last line of defense there on the breakaway attempt.
Well, I'm sure Piero maybe would like to get a little bit of action, though, just to get a feel, as we've gone 5.5 minutes and he's yet to be tested. However, here it looks like Saskatchewan's going to get set up. There it is.
Forced to the wrong side, Colin Bergloff taking the shot. Piero stands in, and the first save of his game out of the way. And that's, people don't realize how hard that is for a goaltender to just stay mentally in the game when you got to stand back and kind of watch.
Yeah, I was going to say it's a mental battle with yourself, so you know, a lot of guys have different techniques to stay focused. Some guys do play-by-play and everything.
Oh, wow. What a play there, dancing around a couple as Alex Taylor to the net from the Nova Scotia champions, the Dartmouth Bandits. They have a number of players on this roster, but another one there. The second goal of the game comes from Alex Taylor.
Saw a lot of crafty moves from Alex Taylor yesterday, and you see it right there, some good footwork and then perfect placement with that shot. Taylor didn't get on the score sheet yesterday, but I thought had a pretty strong game.
Yeah, there was a number of really strong individual performances, I thought, for Nova Scotia yesterday, but really the bottom line was gelling as a team, which, as we've already said a couple times, started to come a little bit more as that game progressed. And it was just kind of unfortunate they had to face a pretty strong Calgary squad in game one.
The Gales.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Sorry,
that's
me.
all right. But yeah, we came down with 17 runners and two guys went down. Ryan Hebert went down in his second shift of the game. He broke his thumb, so that's very unfortunate. He's one of our underage players. He's on the midget team as well.
I believe the other one, Chris Mallett, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
He's the other underage. Yeah. They play like they're 20.
All pushed up top now is Saskatchewan looking to put something together, and that pass rolls errant. Hard on the loose ball, though, Arliss McCloy. This one's going to end up loose in front of the bench.
Yesterday for Saskatchewan, the offense really didn't have a lot of time and space with the way Calgary was playing them, coming right out at their men. Not sure, we haven't really had a chance to see Saskatchewan get set up too much on the offense to kind of tell what kind of defense approach we'll see from Nova Scotia. But if you're Saskatchewan, they're really going to have to try and create some space.
There's Bobby Green working off axis a little bit there. He went over the top, taking that shot in. Bullock making the save, and a big rumble in the center. Desperation dive, looking for it from Liam McMaster. Here's Rylan Badger working to the far side. Saskatchewan will slow things up, allow them to make the change. Ball still in the stick of Wyatt Hawks, and as they gave to Jenna Nash, she got bowled over once again, and that causes the turnover and the breakaway, and it's off the crossbar. But Brett McGuire rolling through the crease, and I think too many men is the call here against Saskatchewan.
Yep. Jump the gun a little early to try to catch him.
Seen Jenna Nash go down a couple times, but Mark, you and I were talking about her very strong game yesterday. Pretty good hands as she looks to get a bit of attention here from the trainer.
She got a goal yesterday and really stood out because of the fact that she's not the biggest out there, but at the same time, very crafty. Can spin away, avoids the collisions, avoids the contact very well, and it's got a good shot. We saw her put one home yesterday, so definitely a player to keep your eye on because she's got plenty of ability. Right now, though, like you mentioned, just getting a little bit of attention on the bench and grabbing a quick drink of water after that big hit.
Even back when I was in my minor days, there were a few. It's kind of been in the lacrosse community. Guys play box and girls play field, but there's been a few girls sprinkled in here or there, but the girls' box game is really starting to pick up across the country. And it's great to see, actually.
Yeah, they have the senior women's league out in Alberta, too. Like, they're second to none out there, too.
Bobby Green from outside. I think that's his second, as it's now 3-0. This power play works, so they're now batting .500 on the day. Is Nova Scotia after the too many men call. And that brings the fans alive here.
Well, that only took 19 seconds into that penalty to strike, and with Green, you'll see it on the replay. It's a long shot from the outside, but again, some nice placement, and he was firing all day yesterday. So once again, he's just going back to the well, and he's getting rewarded here thus far as we've played 8 minutes and 19 seconds, and Team Nova Scotia has hopped out to a 3-0 lead.
It's worth noting as well that with Calgary and the Green Gales both picking up wins yesterday, one of these two teams obviously will get rid of their 0. And Nova Scotia, the margin of victory was only 10 goals as opposed to, I think it was 14 or something for Saskatchewan. So if Nova Scotia can get a couple here, I mean, there's a game within the game a little bit as you know, maybe the Greendale-Calgary game can keep it a little bit close or sort of match that, Nova Scotia could be looking at advancing to medal round here based on this game.
That's the plan. If it comes down to a tiebreaker, right, you gotta. I'm not sure if it goes for goals for, goals against, but if it does, yeah, you definitely don't want to take your foot off the gas. I think the SWAT got burned by that last year.
Oh, what a rip. There she is, Jenna Nash. We just talked about her. As that is a huge fly from outside. Goodness.
Right on cue, as it would seem. We bring her up, and she fires that one home. And again, mentioned she got a great shot, and you'll see it right here on the replay. Just comes down that side, lets it go, and that's a good shot. Wow. Once again, though, maybe that goes back to the fact that Piero hasn't been tested too much here so far.
That, and it's a mental game as well there. Okay, before the game, he's saying, there's no way I'm letting a girl score on me, right? There's no way. So he's got that out of the way. You can move on now.
So when the team goes out for dinner, how many of those guys on the bench bring that up?
Oh, right now. Oh, he'll be chirped hard after the game. I hope they save it for after the game, though.
Oh, there you go. Jenna Nash.
But like I said, she is a good player. She's proven herself in this tournament already, right?
Yeah, had a really good game yesterday. So once again, just like any other player on this Saskatchewan team.
Well, we talked about that yesterday in one of our later games. A lot of people look at these tournaments and say this is a weaker team or this is a stronger team, but every team, nobody got here on a bye. As right in front on the doorstep, Alex Taylor, as they match the Saskatchewan goal. And it's now the 3-goal lead restored here for Nova Scotia.
Taylor's got a pair go along with Bobby Green's pair. You see it right here. He just backs up and gets away, has a lot of time and space, and makes no mistake there as he'll get it past the netminder.
And we'll get a wipe down at the face-off circle, our first one of the day. This was a topic of conversation. The floor held up really well yesterday considering how humid and hot it was in the building until we got to about game 4. We got a real big slick spot down in the corner. Here's what we were talking about. This is Group A, where we focus our attention. A -10 for Nova Scotia and a -15 for Saskatchewan. So Nova Scotia here can maybe get back to possibly even. That sits currently at a -7. But depending what happens between Calgary and the Green Girls, one of those teams will be 1-1 after today.
You also got to think that Calgary Green Gales game is going to take a little bit of steam out of both of those teams because of the fact that I'm sure when they saw the groupings, that was a game that both circled on their schedule. So
well, we both saw the groupings, and we thought that Group B was kind of, if you want to borrow the World Cup of Soccer tournament, the group of death with Coquitlam and Orangeville and Seneca all in the same group there.
We definitely like the group that we're in as far as chances to get to a medal here. The schedule worked out for us big time, having the SWAT in the middle and then Calgary. I think Calgary is a team that's going to be a great game tomorrow between Nova Scotia and Calgary as well.
From the outside, a big rip from Bobby Green, looking for his hat-trick goal now. As Bullock stands in and makes the save. A couple big hits as players are coming off the boards. This one's been a little bit chippy at times as we're still in the first period here. Live on YouTube, free of charge, thanks to the Toronto Rock here today. As our power plays and replays will also be brought to you by the Rock Elite League and the Toronto Rock Athletic Center. Rolled into the corner now. As it'll be a turnover here. Big slash at center. Goes uncalled. As he's taking flight.
I don't think the ref realized that Trey still had the ball, and he blew it back in. The A Division's interesting too. That game last night between BC and Orangeville was sick. It was tight. BC's got some big boys. Yeah. He didn't give up. Yeah.
Play continues here as Nova Scotia is up through center.
Your mic was off. Right on.
Pass to the far side. Understand we may have had some audio difficulties here to start this one.
It's the first game of the day.
We are 7.5 minutes in.
Ooh,
as this one bouncing on the line. It will stay on the correct side as Bullock was looking for it. Had a little help beside him. There is Brendan Bullock. A pair of Bullocks trying to keep that one on the correct side of the line.
I saw one just like that yesterday from Nova Scotia, almost was able to score. So twice the bounce, the roll just hasn't gone enough for them.
Very close to back in a couple times. And it looks like Nova Scotia, will be awarded the ball. As Nova Scotia right tight to their crease. Some of you may have heard it, some of you may not have. Call your friends, get on Twitter, facebook.com/JVI video. If you're on Facebook, we are free the entire day. Our thanks to the Toronto Rock for helping us provide day number 2 of the Founders Cup free as well. A huge response from yesterday's free games as a pileup in the corner results in a Nova Scotia possession on the minor interference. Matthew Carrick, Mark McKelvey, and Chris Susi up here in the booth.
It's hot already.
It's a lot better than it was yesterday, though. I mean, the sun's out outside. It's cooled off a little bit. I imagine it will heat up. But as we were saying, the floor, I was very impressed with how well it held up, except for a little spot over here to the left on the half boards in game number 4.
Well, it's a long day, really, when you get down to it. Yesterday, first game started at 11, and by the time that last game wrapped up, it was almost 11 p.m., so
yeah.
12 hours straight.
We also had the opening ceremonies yesterday. All 5 events had happened here at the Alder Street Arena. Still available on our YouTube channel by on-demand views, and we'll leave those there for you. As the over-the-shoulder behind the back, played by Brett McGuire. We've been tweeting the links out throughout the week, so follow us on Twitter at JVI Video as they go to the crease again and put in by Matt Wilson as Bullock just not able to get to his right in time. And now we're going to have something as Captain Green steps in. And I believe that's Parker Mikulishin again.
Check out the replay of this goal, whereas you'll see right along the near side, just off to the side of the crease here. There it was, no problem, no mistake for Wilson, as he lets that go very quickly as soon as he takes it.
They capitalized there, but watch this one as it's going to drop behind. Luckily, there's no English on that shot as it continues to bounce. The post is blocking it out, but that sat there for a good couple seconds in behind Evan Bullock as Brendan Bullock had to come in and hold off. We'll see what the call is here from the officials. 2 minutes aside up on the board, so it doesn't look like there's any misconducts. Contact on the line, though, as the officials starting to clamp down as Bryce Duick called for contact on the face-off line. Nova Scotia takes advantage going around the far side as Gaetan Tremblay works down to the crease.
And I know we're early in this contest. We haven't even played 15 minutes yet, but down 5-1 already are the SWAT. Yesterday, they took a beating against Calgary, and you're seeing a little bit of frustration starting to boil over, especially right after that last goal. So that's something to keep an eye on if you're Saskatchewan. I'm sure the coaching staff is preaching to this team. Let's keep calm, let's keep it cool, because again, you're only down by 4, lots of time still to go, but you got to keep it within striking range.
Well, and you've got Aiden Piero back there. If you start putting some shots on him, maybe something will happen, as he's been a spectator for most of this one, and That turns into a breakaway, though. Nova Scotia will capitalize here 4-on-4, as I believe that's Conor Clel.
Well, Queno was our player to watch yesterday, and he was noticeable at times, but when you did see him and when you did notice him, he was making something happen. Here he is once again, some good foot speed to get away from his defender who dives, and then right there, some good patience, brings it up top and drops it over top of Bolak. And with that, it's now a 6-1 lead. Chris, this is the start I'm sure Team Nova Scotia was dreaming about.
Yeah, definitely. Something I learned yesterday was that the SWAT actually have 2 junior teams now. They have a junior A team that plays in the Rocky Mountain League in Alberta, and this is their junior B team. So technically they're in a double rebuild, if you would. So that was interesting to me because Saskatchewan has always been, let's call them a bronze contender behind obviously Ontario and BC. There we go.
2-on nobody for Nova Scotia. How about the last-ditch effort there, diving for the stick from Cole Welter to take that one away, the assistant captain. What a play there, and as he comes down the bench, everybody smacking the back of the helmet as a 2-on-0 results in a crease violation.
And to finish your point, though, Chris, at the same time for Saskatchewan, this is just going to be valuable experience going forward. Again, these players and then establishing a junior B squad, you got to start somewhere.
Absolutely.
I had a chance to talk earlier this year with Dave Higdon, who coaches New Brunswick's Bantam team. And the talk around these parts anyways is when teams come from weaker territories, as Nova Scotia scores again, Matt Wilson out in front. Now that goal differential pops up to 6. We talked about the -10 already. But New Brunswick comes in and everyone kind of knows they're going to get beat pretty handily by Ontario teams, but he said the fact is they're the best players that they've got in New Brunswick. Now they've got to see what actual better lacrosse looks like, and it makes them better players going home.
Yeah, you don't get like better playing against the same quality. You got to play against better players, right? So like any experience you can get at a national tournament, doesn't matter who you're playing. At the same time, you can't go in with the mindset that you're going to lose. Like, Nova Scotia did not come here to lose. You know what I'm saying? Like, they expect a bronze medal, nothing less. Like, there's no expectation that we're a bad team. Every time you go to a tournament, if you go there to lose, you're going to get buried.
Well, that's it.
Goaltender's called a water break there. Piero a little bit late getting back in his net, but we will now line up for the face-off at the tail end there. You got the last bit of the replay of Cole Welter taking away the 2-on-nobody breakaway. But again, the magic number in this game for Nova Scotia is a +10 in goal differential, currently sitting -10. They'll take a few extra if they can get it, because hard to believe that the Green Gales and Calgary Chill will end with a +10.
Yeah, you're not going to see them let off. They'll put 20 in if they can.
7-1 as we sit right now, 3.5 left in period number 1 between the Saskatchewan SWAT and Team Nova Scotia in game number 1 of day number 2 of the 2016 Founders Cup. From the Alder Street Arena, Matthew Carrick, Mark McKelvey, and Chris Susi upstairs. Spencer Tagway downstairs, as we'll try and get an interview as we go to break, so stay with us at the intermission. Big hit there as ends up bouncing off the crossbar. Straight back again for Matt Wilson, though, the most recent goal scorer, and they're still arguing over this loose ball. Rolls in front of the Saskatchewan bench as Aquino gets it back. Kirk Drabble. He's got some fans in the house. We saw a Drabble jersey in the stands.
That's his dad, #1 fan. It's a beauty.
Isn't it?
He was actually, Kirk Drabble was a coach, assistant coach with us, Chet and I, on the midget national team this year. So he spent some time in Ontario already too.
Big takeout there in the middle as the Saskatchewan bench wondering how Chris Lukash got taken down without a call, but Nova Scotia gets it back as we hit the 2-minute warning here. Shot over the shoulder. Bullock not sure where it is as it rolls into the corner. And the rugby ruck ensues as who's got it in there. Looked like Saskatchewan came out with it. Got the reset, but it pops down for Nova Scotia again.
You'll see Scotia put a lot of pressure on them. Scouting report says they panic a little bit with the ball, so there's going to be a lot of pressure the whole time and trying to get the ball back, obviously. Possession's everything.
And numbers were 3 on about 1 down in there as Sticks coming up a little hard in the middle. Here as Nova Scotia gets the ball back. He played by Dalton Brown. He gets pushed aside.
Dalton spent time with Junior A and Barrie this year. He's a first-year junior player. He got noticed last year at the Midget Nationals. So
certainly familiar then with Ontario lacrosse scene.
That's it. 2 balls on the floor. Rink attendant threw it back in.
Was that Nathan who got our internet back up and going here?
Well,
this
I don't
morning?
know who that was.
I won't chirp him then because the internet was down.
It was close here this morning. About countdown was about 30 seconds, resetting our internet router to bring you this game here. We know we've got a lot of fans in Nova Scotia, Saskatchewan in the house as well. You can join the conversation at JVI Video and in the YouTube chat room.
Oh, we got fans in Ontario too here. Frank the Tank's watching again.
Oh
yeah. Mitch Hannigan.
A long time before their boys take to the floor. Actually, I keep wanting to call them the Clarington Green Gills. I've been told they're not officially associated with Clarington.
Oh, they're going for Nova Scotia, though.
They're just the Green Gills. Will be in our next matchup. And then later on, Seneca and Coquitlam, which could be a good game. As there's 30 seconds left here in period number 1, a reminder that Spencer Tangway will try and corral Bobby Green at intermission for an interview.
We had the biggest team of ball boys here, I'd say. The volunteer committee picks a bunch of ball boys for each team. They're supposed to have 2 per team. We had about 7 out there. Everybody wants to be a part of Scotia. I love it.
Sticks come up here between 2 players, and I think we're going to get offsetting minors with 3 seconds left here. Period number 1. We saw this a little bit before. This has been a pretty feisty affair, as you said. Maybe some frustration, maybe just the fact that Saskatchewan, recognizing there could be a logjam at 1-1. I mean, this could be their tournament right here. And so it's tough to say that, you know.
It's a short tournament with only 8 teams in it, so if you lose 2 games, you're
80 minutes into their tournament. We're already talking.
Everybody crosses over on Friday, but you don't want to end up playing BC or Orangeville. I'll tell you that.
Well, you don't want to play Orangeville because they're a good team, but put this crowd behind them. We saw that last night as that nearly works out. The last-ditch effort from Alex Taylor, just sailing it high. But it is a 7-1 lead after the first period for Team Nova Scotia, who has really made improvements after day number 1. As remember, the magic number is 10, the goal differential after day number 1. Here's our broadcast schedule coming up. All these times are here in Toronto, the Eastern time zone, as Saskatchewan, Nova Scotia sit 7-1 after 1. Seneca Coquitlam coming up next at 5 p.m. Green Gales versus the Calgary Chill, and Orangeville versus Manitoba. We've got, I think, 4 fantastic games. This is going to be the best day on the docket, and we're bringing it to you live and free on YouTube thanks to the Toronto Rock.
Love free stuff.
Who doesn't? Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
I'm trying to pick which game is going to be my favorite on that list, and I can't find one.
I was going to say, I know which game you want.
I'm looking forward to Coquitlam and Seneca because I don't think either of those teams really showed us.
It's going to be interesting.
Their max capacity yesterday.
Well, Manitoba gave Seneca a great game yesterday. That goalie stood on his head.
Yeah, he was my player of the day for sure. As we're still trying to find Spencer Tangway and Bobby Green. As here they come out of the tunnel. As here's a look again at the Group A standings, and that magic number is the goal differential at the bottom. At the last column, the minus 10 for Nova Scotia after yesterday, as they look to close that gap, as we're going to have a bunch of 1-1 teams. Spencer Tangway on the floor with Bobby Green. We'll send it there now.
Alrighty, I'm here on the floor with the captain of Team Nova Scotia, Bobby Green. Bobby, a better period coming in period number 1 against Saskatchewan. How do you keep it going even though it's a 7-1 score?
We just got to keep doing what we're doing, control all the loose balls, keep getting the shots we're getting. We're swinging the ball well and stuff, so just got to keep leading, keep scoring, keep the pace we have going.
Even though it is 7-1, there's still day number 3 tomorrow, a huge game for Nova Scotia against Calgary. it could be medical attention. How do you just keep the momentum, and how do you keep hydrated really in this big dry heat season we have right now?
Just got to like take care of your bodies, get the water in you. We're all like 16, 21 men. Like, it's all on yourself. Like, keep control of your body, take care of yourself. So yeah, just got to keep care of yourself.
And what's the best moment so far throughout this Founders Cup, coming from Nova Scotia to here, playing in Ontario, whereas you're not at home in Nova Scotia, obviously?
Just playing against like better people, like the highest level competition I could possibly play at, and coming with like some of my best friends and stuff. It's probably the highlight of it.
All right, thanks for your time. We'll go to break. We'll be back with second period action right after this.
Born of the Huron and of the Mohawk, of the wilderness, of strength and endurance. This is Canada. This is lacrosse. Our country, our sport. Canada's national summer sport, lacrosse.
2017 Toronto Rock season tickets are on sale now. Lock in your seat today for as low as $195 and you won't miss a moment of the action. For more information, visit torontorock.com.
We're live back inside the Alder Street Recreational Complex here in Orangeville, Ontario, the host of the 2016 Founders Cup. This is day number 2 action, 7-1 the score after 20 minutes between Nova Scotia and Saskatchewan. Nova Scotia up by 6. Shots on goal in the first period. It was Nova Scotia leading the way 28-6. I'll send it upstairs to the boys calling today's game for more of the second period.
Thanks a lot, Spencer. Matthew Carrick, Mark McKelvey, and Chris Susi back upstairs here inside the Alder Street Arena in Orangeville for, like we said, day number 2. Free coverage brought to you by the Toronto Rock here this afternoon. And throughout the day, 4 games on the schedule. But right now we're focusing, as we said, on Saskatchewan SWAT and the Team Nova Scotia. A great first period. Chris, maybe we'll start there from Nova Scotia.
Yeah, great period. 7-1, obviously. Got a six goal differential already. So the goal was 10, like you said. Much better than yesterday. I think the team's starting to gel. Last night, opening ceremonies, everybody was pretty loose. I think we went back to the hotel, hot tub.
Did it help playing the early game yesterday, the fact that you had that day to just kind of go back and gel and take it, hey?
Yeah, definitely. And they stuck. I think they watched the stream last night, actually, from the hotel room. So, yeah, they're sticking together. Everybody's in the same hallway in the hotel, and they're all gelling.
Meanwhile, for Saskatchewan, Jenna Nash, the only goal there for Saskatchewan. Things starting to get a little heated there, Mark. As we look at our starting goaltenders, Evan Polak, he was peppered in that first period, but stood in for 21 saves.
Did a decent job, I thought, because at the same time, didn't get a lot of help. There's a lot of good looks for Team Nova Scotia. So he played yesterday, had a rough outing. So far off to a bit of a rough start here today, but I think he'll settle down here in the second.
Those are brutal stats.
Aiden Piero comes on in, and he didn't play yesterday. Ben Faulkner thought he did a good job.
He hasn't allowed a goal yet.
And then you see,
I think that's pretty good. I'd take it.
0 minutes, 0 goals.
Piero, as we said, allowing just the 1 goal on 6 shots, but the mental game is where we're going to focus when we talk about him so far in this one, as it is, as we said, 7-1 in favor of the Nova Scotia team after 1 period of play. Day number 2, 2016 Founders Cup here on the JVI Sports Network.
Well, I thought Nova Scotia was pretty relentless there in the first, staying right all over Saskatchewan. Saskatchewan needs a little bit of time and space to breathe and to set things up. When they don't get that space, they seem to panic right away. So, Chris, I would imagine for Nova Scotia, staying relentless has got to be the game plan. At the same time, keeping those habits strong going into another game tomorrow.
Yeah, the minute you take your foot off the pedal is the minute you start taking bad habits going into the next game, right? So it's like I said, it's a grind. It's a long tournament.
It looked like Matt Califf up top was about to signal crease violation and then noticed that Trent Bray had it, but a bit of a late call as they want a too many men call, and we are 4-on-4 to start period number 2 here. So call. The officials took a bit to talk to each other. Again, we talked a little bit about this yesterday. These two still haven't worked with each other after day number 1, as there's a 6 official crew here for this tournament, and they're trying to find their own chemistry down there on the floor as well. So bit of a late call on the crease violation, bit of a late call here, but the end result, they get both correct, as Nova Scotia to the box will go 4-on-3.
You see that late call, though. At the same time, you have to wonder the fact that it is 7-1. Saskatchewan's yelling for that one. Maybe plays a little bit into the hands of the officials, as Saskatchewan with that big deficit trying to claw back.
Well, we'll see what they can do here as they look for Jenna Nash, and that one just a little too high over top of her, off the stick of Colin Bergloff. Played on the far side. This second period brought to you by Rotomill, Crown and Capital Incorporated, and Sanderson Source for Sports here in Orangeville. As Nova Scotia brings it off the wall, still on the correct side of that over and back line, though. That's hard defense played there by Parker Mikulishin. Wearing his 22. Thought for a sec he'd be 23 here, but Nova Scotia gets another one in, I believe. I thought that was Kirk Drabel, but that is Aquino. I didn't see the one. I was going to say Dad's going to be pretty happy if that's his boy, but no, it is Aquino. The 81 as opposed to just the single 8. And it is goal number 8, making it 8-1 here for Nova Scotia.
Here it is on the replay where you talked about that good work on the penalty kill, chewing up some time, staying away from that line, and then there's the awareness to find Aquino coming down that right side, takes the pass, and
Get the goalie dancing on his flat foot there.
Exactly. Didn't just catch and fire there, just takes it in, shows a little patience, gets the goalie to bite, and then there you go.
I'm not sure what the face-off numbers were in that first period, but it seemed like Nova Scotia had the ball every time. But here, Saskatchewan will get it back, and it's
Face-offs are just so huge for possession. We were talking about the game last night in BC, like Orangeville. They got probably, I'd say 70-75% of all the face-offs. They had possession off them, so it helped them a lot.
Chris Mallett taken down there, and he got back with a vengeance. And that forced the interference call. Rolls in on Piero. He can't trap it under that big stick, so it goes to Nash as we go 5-on-4 as the offsetting minors at the end of that first period expire. 34 seconds left here at the Saskatchewan power play as Nash goes to the far side. Low shot there. That one looked like it was off the hand of Kirk Drabble. So he shook out the right glove. Back up for Nash again. Cutter bounces off the cutter as that is Bergloff going through, and Piero was on his way to the right, had to put the brakes on in a hurry to make the stop, but down the other way, Nova Scotia, Alex Bungay, think a smart decision there to pull out as there's now 4 seconds left, and they'll kill off the penalty. Will Nova Scotia as we go back to 5-on-5 lacrosse. Power plays today being brought to you by the Toronto Rock Elite League. If you're in the GTA area and want a junior player or minor player that wants to play year-round lacrosse, you can play TorontoRockEliteLeague.com and sign up for this year's camp.
Right there, that's a perfect example of what's not working for Saskatchewan. If you can complete that pass, that was a great opportunity to score, although they'll prove me wrong and strike right after that.
Ethan Kennedy chasing down the loose ball into the corner, and I believe it was Tanner Deck, either him or Denny Martin. And it will be Denny Martin.
Danny Martin had a goal and an assist yesterday, and he's another one of those players that likes to shoot. And when he gets an opportunity, he's going to fire, and you'll see it right there. It's a nice shot, and that gets
screen.
Exactly, works it past the defender there, which might have blocked the view for Piero.
I heard 2-6-1, which is Evan Bolak on the second assist. Big collision in front of the Saskatchewan bench. Everyone bailed out, and Nova Scotia forced to just dump it away as that hit was coming in hot. And Saskatchewan here, they opened the shooting lane for Nash, but she was in the process of passing to the far side. Picked up by Arliss McCloy. He looks to go back up top, and another one that bounces up into the bench. It cleared the coach, then went off the glass and actually came back and whacked him in the side of the head. Looks like he's all right, but
all the coaches are just as tough as the players, right, Chris?
Oh, absolutely. Tougher, actually.
From the outside, working through. Aquino gets mugged there on his way to the net. Pass goes to the far side, though Brett Draper forced outside. Working around, that one just dumped in the direction of the net. It goes over top, though, as the shot clock was about to expire. Two Nova Scotia players will head down the floor. We understand the Nova Scotia Privateers are tweeting this game. If you want to follow them on Twitter, joining us in the YouTube chat room as well.
Great team, you know. Solid group of guys.
You must play for them, do you? Yeah. Delayed penalty coming here as it'll be an illegal cross check. I believe Nova Scotia headed back to the box here. So a bit of penalty trouble already in this early stage of the second period for Nova Scotia. Talked about things starting to get a little physical in period number one. As now a couple penalties.
This is where Saskatchewan's got to do their best to try and claw their way back in. If you get these opportunities presented, you got to try and capitalize.
Nash setting the pick, opening it up for Ethan Kennedy, who goes to the far side, and Reaching in the crease, though, was Bergloff. Close to the line, and Matt Califf had a better look than we did, so they'll put it back into the crease, and Nova Scotia will get started. 5 minutes gone here in period number 2 on the Rock Elite League power play. In the corner, Brett McGuire. McGuire looking to go to the net, drew the double team, and Brendan Bullock and Braden Frenette doing well to get the ball away there. As the SWAT will take it to the far side. Looking for Nash. Go back up top, Marlis McCloy. As McCloy gets it through, it's on net, and another one that Aiden Piero, again, he's been kind of stayed in there watching the game for the last few minutes, and he's forced to make another save that I'm not sure he was entirely ready for. Circling the net here, I believe this is Chris Mallett. Circling away from the double team, and Mikulishin.
That was pretty obvious.
He's going to get back to the net as Piero was on his way to the bench. But of course, with their man in the box and the shot clock turned off, he won't cross center. And it will be Mikulishin going off for the 3rd time today, I believe, as he has words with Bobby Green, and Green is getting a penalty as well. I believe that's the 3rd time for Green too.
It's going to be unsportsmanlike against Green. As we'll see if it's all evened up, or if there's going to be an extra penalty going against Mikulishin.
So a rough and a hold, and we'll wait and see who gets possession here. Nova Scotia taking the 2nd penalty. I believe they're going to hand the ball to Saskatchewan, and there is a ton of room on the floor right now as we play 4-on-3. And you talked about capitalizing on opportunities here, Mark. This would be a good one here with a lot of space to work with, and the SWAT just dumping it in on net.
I'm not sure that was the right play, really, that quick into the possession, especially with that space out there. If you're going to get a look, let's try and make it the best one you can.
It was Denny Martin. As Nash brings it into the zone. The far side for Kennedy. Pardon me, this is Ethan Kennedy working out of the corner. As they go far side, McCloy down low. Pass intercepted, the exact same play they used the last time. And how about the awareness from Brett McGuire to recognize where it was going. And the interception, he backs his way in close to the half boards. And now will spin away. Takes a whack from Brian Dewick as the first penalty expires. And the SWAT player held up a little bit as he had something to say to Dalton Brown. And that's going to open the door for Nova Scotia here. Pushing it down floor, Brett Draper looking for the man on the crease, and that pass doesn't get through. And scooted away from Brown. Oh, big hit behind the play. As now Saskatchewan up over center. Nothing more will come of the action down in the Saskatchewan zone as everyone heads off. As Denny Martin from the far boards, a few side steps to his right. As there's 35 seconds left in our 4-on-4 set. This one bounces off a couple boards, running into it, able to corral it. Alex Bungay leading the charge, a couple fakes, and runs through the crease after shooting wide. So Saskatchewan, as they got too many here, one jumped out the front door. And that takes away a pretty good opportunity break for Nova Scotia, I think, as they were all scampering to the bench. There was only one back against 4 Saskatchewan players. Drake.
Carvery really impressed me yesterday and getting some good opportunities there.
These big boys use his size to drive to the middle of the net. I think he should be doing it more.
12 minutes left here, period number 2, as we go back to 5-on-5 lacrosse. Nash off the bench. They find her shot, looking to put it top corner like she did on the first Saskatchewan goal, but it's going to be just wide. Bounces back to her and off the glass. Having to hold up a little bit is Zach Fraser as Fraser comes in, takes a shot, and a save made by Bolak again.
Bolak has been
on top of his game here in the second period.
Grant Blackman up over center, and if Piero's been standing around watching, it's been completely opposite for Bolak. Yes, there's 8 goals on the board, but he's been able to find his groove and stick in it. Being kept in this game. Oh, almost a big hit there. Brett McGuire electing just for the cross check as that ball pops out the back of the stick from Braylon Fournette. He came through center and results in a Nova Scotia possession. The far side, over the top. It's pass for Gaetan Tremblay. Far side, Matt Wilson. Tremblay up top, a sidearm shot. That one squeaks through, finds the line, but no further as it rolls into the corner. Fresh 30 for Nova Scotia now. It's up top for the captain, Bobby Green. Around a pick, shooting lane opens, and he scores.
I think he just took another overhand shot. That's for Mitch Hannigan. I think you're right.
And the Hats, well, they tried to throw it on the floor. It went about 10 feet in the air and straight back down, but
it's not making it down.
Team 6-5.
Good effort, though.
That's a good head.
It's going.
There it is. As it did make it.
She wants it back now.
The things you only see at the Founders Cup. And Bobby Green will oblige. As the hat trick goal for the captain.
I always thought if you scored a hat trick, it doesn't matter what sport, and the hats come on the floor, whatever.
Yeah, that's your hat.
You should get to choose which hats you want to keep.
Oh, definitely.
Edwin Encarnacion last year signed every hat and tried to find the people to give it back to when he hit the 3 home runs in the Blue Jays game last year, which I thought was fantastic.
Yeah. Good luck with that, though.
Yeah.
40,000 people in the stadium.
Yeah. Everybody's going to say it's their hat.
Yeah.
And legend has it that Maple Leaf Gardens used to keep the hats and donate them to charity. But that one goes back to the fan that threw it, as they may need it again in this game. A couple players with a few goals.
It's going for the sock trick now. 60-30 socks.
Draper will take it back the other way. Steps on the brake. Still some time to do it, as we're only we've just now passed the halfway mark of period number 2. So 3 in the first half. I mean, he's on pace. As again, we're looking for a magic number of goal differential of 10 for Nova Scotia. It's up to 7 now, but it's kind of stuck there for a little bit, as the first period was all Nova Scotia, and we've kind of evened out, and a few penalties thrown in there, taking away a bit of the momentum. We'll see if they can get it back. Through the middle, though, as Wyatt Hawks, Saskatchewan seems to be finding themselves, as Hawks all over his man, and Hawks is going to go here as Bobby Green gets around him. Green, last burst to get up over center, as Piero will come to the bench for the 6-man set. Green looking front door. Taylor is the extra man as they work around the horn into the corner for Green, to the crease, and the goal for Matt Wilson, the recipient again. He scored like that earlier, and they'll need the hat one more time, as that's hat trick for Wilson now.
They executed that well for having, I don't know, a total of 3 practices.
581 with the goal, and then the penalties, number 8, 2 minutes for holding. Yep.
This will be a good look. Watch the far side of the crease as he circles the crease, just waiting there for it. And even looking at that replay, the timing could probably be a little bit crisper, but Bolak just doesn't get into the corner, but still results in a goal on the board. So
pick the corner.
I don't imagine there's too much to nitpick about on that one there. 8-goal lead. Reminder, we are looking for a differential of 10 to get back to even after the loss yesterday to the Green Gales, who play the Calgary Chill in our 5 o'clock game later this afternoon. Free on YouTube, thanks to the Toronto Rock for helping provide day number 2 free. And we're getting a high sticking call here as Trey Carvery took his man down and the stick rode a little bit high. Matthew Carrick, Mark McKelvey, and Chris Susi up here in the booth. Spencer Tangway down below, who will be looking for a intermission interview at the second intermission. Be sure to stick with us after the horn as they work to the far side. Back up top for Saskatchewan. Played here by Cole Welter. That shot just off the post. Caught Piero looking to his left. The shot went right, and that one finds iron. Back for Cole Welter. Has to run the full 200 feet to get after it. Welter up top. Minute 15 left in the power play. Goes for Jenna Nash. She's dancing around, puts it in the corner. Nash setting a pick, rolls off it, goes to the crease. Shot arrives on scene. And I thought they were going to look for her as she was open on the crease, but this one down the floor and some shoving as players were on their way to the benches. Brett McGuire was the one that got pushed out of the way, but he ends up with the ball. As they cross over center, the shot clock turns off, and a Saskatchewan player slipping there. He may have a slick spot right by the Rotomill sign.
Tripped on the blue line.
As here's Aclanio to the far side. Gaetan Tremblay over the top. Tremblay into the corner as Nova Scotia spreading the floor, trying to stay away from double teams as Green sets the pick. Man getting worked over there, and Nova Scotia's got the ball. And Alex Taylor was tied up with Parker Mikulishin, and they're going to take both of them.
This guy must be friends with the timekeepers, eh? 20, what is it, 22?
He has spent a lot of
Both
time
of them for unnecessary.
Unnecessary roughness. It sounds like that's Trent Bray on the report.
Well, I didn't see exactly what Taylor did because what I think we all saw up here was him getting knocked down and the whistle going. And at first I thought maybe the official didn't realize who had the ball, but sends both off. So likely maybe some retaliation, or Taylor was maybe saying something to get under his opponent's skin. Right now the official's going to have a chat, and that gives us a chance to let you know, or to ask you who you think the 3 stars of this game have been. Make sure you tweet us with your 3 stars to @JBI Video. Let us know what you think. Anytime today and throughout the tournament, give us your thoughts and opinions. Let us know where you're watching from. That's @JBI Video.
We'll put our respective heads together up here. Usually those tweets end up being pretty biased, so we'll compile all results, and of course YouTube chat room open as well if you want to let your voice be heard in there. And another penalty coming up to Saskatchewan as the Nova Scotia player falls, and it was into the feet, so I imagine we'll get a trip called here just as the first Nova Scotia penalty expires.
I think Chris Milletta has drawn about 4 penalties by himself, just playing hard, tough to the ball. He's one of our 15-year-olds who played. He was the captain of the midget national team this year. So again, he's a guy who's been in Ontario for about 3 weeks now.
He looks like a tough player.
The hair.
Locks flowing out from underneath. He's got the low knee.
He puts it in a man bun sometimes, though, so we chirp him for that. You know,
I don't blame you.
There's no room for that in lacrosse. No man buns allowed.
Or anywhere else. Maybe a Starbucks, but I don't go. I don't go there. So
you need like tight pants and stuff to go with the man bun. It's just not. It's not cool. So we chirp him enough. It keeps it down.
15 years old, he said, though. He might be the future.
He's the real deal. I think next year there's talk of actually him playing in Orangeville for either the A team or the B team. Lindsay Sanderson took notes on him. He's beating up guys in junior out east. He's 20 years old. He's 15. Like, it's man-child stuff, you know.
Goodness gracious. Well, that's Junior A Northman Series sweeping the Six Nations Arrows. Brendan Bomberry just graduated from his 7th year of Junior A lacrosse.
Wow.
Unfortunately for Six Nations fans, graduating with a sweep as both the Junior B Northmen and the Junior A Northmen sweeping their Ontario final series.
I was at the game 3 and 4 in the Junior A, and game 4 was probably the fastest game of lacrosse I've ever watched at any level, including World Championship finals and everything. It was the fastest game. The battles for loose balls were just crazy, man.
Two very good defenses, a spectacular, sparkling offense from Six Nations that just got completely shut down in that series. We had most of that on the JVI Sports Radio Network. If you want to visit our website, jvisportsnetwork.com, to tune into that. But we've seen
just
some
packed.
Oh,
the Bunny Barn was just.
You thought
bumping.
you thought this building was hot.
Oh yeah.
Pack.
That was warm.
Pack whatever the capacity was.
We were saying I hope the fire marshal didn't show up.
Yeah, I think he was there. I think he was in a Northman jersey, but
yeah, that's it. He's part of it.
Here's Brown. We've done a few things here, including the Meredith Cup this year, Ontario's Junior C Championship, that on our YouTube page, and Founders Cup lacrosse. Is Nova Scotia still at the net and reaching over the top there as Clanyo looking, and Saskatchewan as the double team rolled into the corner. Saskatchewan signals timeout.
I think that was a wise move to call that timeout in that situation.
Well, we showed you the Group A standings we talked about a lot. Group B, a lot tougher. We actually labeled it the Group of Death yesterday, to borrow the term from World Cup Soccer. As you can see, a strong Coquitlam squad. The Seneca War Chiefs look to be a strong team coming in. Of course, the Orangeville Northmen as hosts, a strong team, and a pleasant surprise, I would say, from the Manitoba Blizzard in their game yesterday. As you can see, only 14 goals in the differential department separating teams 1 through 4. And you said before, Chris, you guys are happy to be right where you are.
Yeah, we're fine. We like the schedule. You know, it's a good matchup between Saskatchewan and Calgary. I think tomorrow's going to be a great game, like I said.
I wouldn't want to be in that Group B. That's too much talent in that one, I think.
It's a bigger challenge, that's for sure, if you're a lower seed team.
Well, put it to you this way. Coquitlam had a bad 8 minutes at the end of their game yesterday, and that may cost them their tournament as they're down by a -7. They're playing Seneca and Manitoba left on their schedule, and they could drop 0-2 at the end of today.
Yeah. Manitoba impressed me a lot. They're also a bottom seed team, just like Nova Scotia and Saskatchewan.
Oh, how many fakes was that before the Nova Scotia player got barreled into? And now Mallet coming in. Yeah, he's going to bypass the Saskatchewan player to celebrate the goal. But
got to check it from behind penalty there, too.
Yeah, everybody was headed down floor in a hurry. And we'll see if this may end up being the 2-minute checking from behind call, as the first two, of course, would come off the board, as we're still 5 seconds 4-on-4. Here's a look at the goal, though. As Mallet was wide open. You just talked about him. And the big hit after the fact, actually, I believe that's Alex Bungay.
Yep.
The recipient 4-on-4, as they'll get.
Might start getting a little chippy. The boys are going to have to keep their heads here.
It was already a power play for Nova Scotia. So we see one penalty come off the board. Now with the latest penalty going to Saskatchewan, this might be 4 minutes still up on the board. And with that,
I think that's what the discussion is here. The fact that
so it was 4-on-4.
It was 4-on-3 at the moment when they scored.
That's right. Sorry, I forgot about that.
So
one
he's got
goes
4
in,
minutes
one
check
comes
from
out,
behind.
right thing.
So I think still 4 minutes is going to go up. In which
we gotta
case,
get the notepad out.
Yes.
Matt Califf reporting at the penalty box. Sounded like he said 4 minutes. As they were looking at everything on the timesheet.
Yep, 4 minutes up on the board.
And
14 on the goal, 1 assisted, and then we got the 4 minutes from behind. 14 unassisted, and then 4 from behind.
Unassisted.
I would imagine that's
yeah,
what
I don't think
the
so.
official could not remember at that point who passed it up.
That somebody deserves a fantastic assist, and I think it's Mallet as he was back in the zone.
Yeah, that's robbery.
As that was such a beautiful pass. My goodness.
That's called I forgot, and I'm too concerned about the penalty for
Right.
sure. But
Well,
4 minutes is on the board.
Yeah, yeah. And that's a penalty that needs to be concerned about. I mean, it was straight in the back.
Right.
Yeah, here's another look. If this is unassisted, and like oh my goodness.
Dude, that's a great loose ball. Huh?
He just knew where it was going to be. He might be psychic.
It's that guy from America's Got Talent that has the juggling act. The balls drop from the ceiling. I don't know, but my goodness.
Give him an apple.
All right, we'll get off the officials' backs here. I mean, it's a tough job as it is. And some of these guys wearing helmets for the first time, as that was just mandated a few months ago for these national championships. As Mallet gets it back in again, the penalty box doors open and the offsetting Miners come out. And hard into his man is Parker Mikulishin. As they work around the horn once again, Bobby Green into the corner. Here's Green again after he sent it quickly up top. Green to the far side, a big rip there. I believe is that Carvery on the far side. That shot went wide as Bryce Dewick getting involved. I was checking to see the mock tear gesture. Checking to see if that was Mikulishin. His next, I believe, would be the expulsion for 5 minor penalties for Mikulishin. But we'll see if our addition is right up here, and quite likely that our math would be wrong. Jenna Nash. That is not a fair size advantage right there. It's
Payback for the goal she scored.
Pero comes out and puts her into the boards.
I like that she gets up, though, and has a few words for him after.
It's good.
Oh, she just got leveled.
She gets taken down
that was a size
there.
difference there. That's a push and shove, but, it's an 11-2 call.
Right.
Mitchell Batiste.
They're going to start. You'll see the tighter stuff that might be let go will get called against us.
As Bobby Green works hard through a pick. Played back
She's
on
tough,
the
though,
side.
Yeah. Not afraid to get in there.
We were talking about that last night in the Orangeville game. A lot of this, you look at the smaller players, and they develop and learn how to be tough players and how to be better and how to be shifty.
Well, she's got to be used to having a little target on her back.
Of course. Well, as I said before, I played with females growing up that wanted to get involved in the box game. They liked the contact as, it looked like a move opening up here, and finally we get this penalty call. You could see Saskatchewan looking to narrow their checking from behind minor down to 2 so we could play a full 4-on-4 here, but it will be interference against Mitchell Batiste. But
4-on-4 is fine. It's exciting lacrosse. Two-man game on both sides of the
There's
floor.
a target because you're a smaller player. There's a target because you're female. There's a target because of any number of things.
Hey, if you're a bigger player, one of the biggest guys on the floor.
Not to mention she's one of the better players for Saskatchewan.
Well, exactly.
If not the best.
Exactly.
That we've seen.
And I think Spencer Tangway is going to try and catch up with her at the second intermission, which comes in about 2 minutes here. There's a number of folks on Twitter saying that she should be the first star of the game. We said those may get a little biased, but her 1 goal and fierce play may be in consideration here, as it was 2 on nobody, ended up 2 on 3, but Nova Scotia still scoring on the crease, and that evens their tournament goal differential at the moment, 2 and even. As again, we said, still got a lot to do.
14-19.
In terms of what the Green Gales and Seneca put up yesterday, as they're in the pluses, but
Alex Bungay gets the goal, and he's been quite noticeable through the first 2 games here at the tournament.
Nice play gets resumed here. We are 4-on-4. Minute and 45 seconds left here in period number 2. As that shot goes way wide. Brandon Sanderson head in hands as we get close to the benches here. Big, fierce play for that loose ball, and maybe a rush pass a little bit, looking for Dalton Brown on the far crease. He bounces off the backboards. Picked up here by Trey Carvery and dumped into the corner. Chet Kennedy screaming at his, not sure if it was his player or the official, but we're nearing the final minute of play here in period number 1. First game of the day. 3 still to come after this one, all live and free on YouTube. Thanks to the Toronto Rock here this afternoon. Sure to tweet them your thanks at Toronto Rock Lax on Twitter as Jenna Nash fumbled that ball, and she's going to stay on the floor too. Looked to be shaken up initially, but does stay on the floor. My goodness, that was a rock there from Trey Carvery. As now the pass looking far side, skips off the glass. Piero was in position to play that. It was picked up, and a back-in call against Nova Scotia will give it to Saskatchewan. In 18 seconds, it will be a Nova Scotia power play once again. But we've got 40 left in the first period here, second period rather, of our first game of the day. This one picked off, dumped through. Mark McKelvey will remain in for game number 2, and Spencer Tangway will take over for games number 5 and 8. Games at 5 p.m. and 8 p.m., pardon me. As Fraser up over center. And I think we had a timeout. This was a discussion we had yesterday as well, whether or not this has to come from the floor or the bench. That looked like a full bench call.
Well, it did start at the bench, then you saw everybody going out. It does have to come from the floor every time.
That's what
that's something the refs should be looking for in the last, we get two timeouts a game, right? And you can't use 2 in one period. So obviously with the last 30 seconds, somebody has possession, you should be looking for that.
And we saw Scott Tinning prearrange it yesterday. Said we shot with 37. He said we're getting it back when we do. I want it immediately in.
Definitely, and that's communication between the officials and the coaches, which is appreciated.
But it is Nova Scotia timeout, and
Coach Sanderson drawing up a beauty play.
I was also told that it's at referee's discretion whether or not it comes from the floor, but I'm not sure.
In the rule book it says from the floor, but
I'm not sure. Well, we were having the discussion, and I said, when I was officiating, one of my marks on my review was the fact that in a tight game, I called the timeout because the bench was calling timeout, and I said a 7-year-old probably doesn't know what that means first and foremost, but
yeah, absolutely.
So at referee's discretion,
that's game management, right? If you don't listen to a coach right away, he's going to have words for you in the third period. You don't want to get a bad reputation.
Whereas here at this level, it's allowed to come from the bench, and these guys on the floor know what that means and know how to call timeout. Right. But anyways,
you don't have to be that stubborn about it, right? And say no, you can't have a timeout. But.
Well, exactly. There it is. And the second period, it was all Nova Scotia in the first, but a little tighter here in the second, as the officials starting to call it a little tighter as well. A few penalties that kind of took that momentum away from Nova Scotia, but they have hit that magic 10-goal mark as they lead 12-2 after 2. Looking for a few more here. If they can get 4 more, they'll actually jump ahead of the Green Gales at this point, should the Green Gales lose to I forget who they're playing
Calgary.
against. Sorry, yeah. They're all the same as this tournament goes on, but there it is. Nova Scotia -10. Oh, sorry, they're going to need 10 more to face the Green Gales, sorry. So a 20-goal differential, which may be a lot here, but tomorrow against Calgary, again, that's going to be a good match to watch. So
I don't know who you're going to get for an interview here. I think she's being looked after that hit by Carvery. I forget her name. What is it? Sorry.
Jenna Nash.
Yeah, Jenna Nash was our intended target, but
Spencer's down on the job. We'll see if he gets a guest.
Yeah, I believe he's asking for a change of plans here, but allows us to remind you of the rest of our schedule for today.
Well, if we get to the schedule, one of your broadcasting problems you'll always discover is that when a team's losing, it's never the easiest to get an interview out of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. But Seneca versus Coquitlam, Mark McKelvey will be back for that one at 2 p.m. All these times are Eastern. So for you folks in BC, that would be 11 o'clock, I believe, on the West Coast. Green Gills in Calgary at 5 p.m. Eastern time. Is that 3 o'clock in Calgary?
Yep.
Oh, look at this. And Orangeville, 8 o'clock, our primetime match versus the Manitoba Blizzard, which I believe is 7 p.m. in Manitoba, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, sir.
Jenna Nash is on floor now with Spencer Tangway, and we'll go there now for our intermission interview.
Alrighty, I'm on the floor here in the second intermission. I have Jenna Nash from the Saskatchewan SWAT. Jenna, the score 12-2, obviously not in favor. However, you have the first goal for this team, and take me through it. It's a beautiful shot from the outside.
Well, I just looked at my team, and the goalie probably thought I was going to pass, and I saw top corner open. I just whipped it. I don't know. I don't really know.
Well, I could tell you, as we looked at the replay, it was a beautiful shot that just caught the crossbar and down. Now, viewers that have been watching this game have been talking about you as a tenacious player that deserves a star. You've been in battling every single boy on this floor.
Yeah.
Is it competitiveness of you coming out, trying to just always do your best and get that loose ball every time?
Yeah, well, I guess I just have to prove myself because my whole life playing boys, I've just been doubted. And every single game I have to go and prove myself, prove I can be here, prove I can be as tough as anybody out here, if not tougher. So it's been a battle, but I just keep going, keep pushing.
Now I got to take you back to 2011, where you actually scored the national bronze medal game-winning goal for Team Alberta representing Saskatchewan.
Yeah.
What is it like to score a national championship goal here in Orangeville today representing Saskatchewan?
Probably it's one of the best feelings because it just gets your team going and gives them hope, I guess. And every shift, I think we keep getting better. We're going through the plays. We're doing everything right, but we're not finishing. And I think if we just keep going and keep doing what we're doing, then the goals will come. And we're going to try and get a few more here just to get ourselves back up and get ready for the next games.
Well, enjoy the week. Thanks for doing this, and good luck.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. We'll be back with third period action. You're watching the JVI Sports Network coverage of the 2016 Founders Cup.
Born of the Huron and of the Mohawk, of the wilderness, of strength and endurance. This is Canada. This is lacrosse. Our country, our sport. Canada's national summer sport, lacrosse.
2017 Toronto Rock season tickets are on sale now. Lock in your seat today for as low as $195 and you won't miss a moment of the action. For more information, visit torontorock.com.
Okay.
Beautiful Orangeville, Ontario. Their Northmen have won their first game. That was last night. They defeated the visiting opponent last night. Final score of 12-6, I believe. This game, though, it is 12-2 after 40 minutes of play between Saskatchewan and Nova Scotia. Lots more to go in this one and in day number 2. We'll send it back upstairs to Matt, Mark, and Chris for the call of period number 3.
Thank you, Spencer. Matthew Carrick, Mark McKelvey, and Chris Susi up here in the booth getting set for period number 3 between Nova Scotia and the Saskatchewan SWAT. And it is the 10-goal lead that Nova Scotia was looking for, as we're looking at some moisture issues in front of the bench here.
New
Trent
goalie
Gray. And a goaltender change. Jenna Nash will step in for Saskatchewan.
This is his first appearance of the tournament. He was not in the game yesterday where we saw both netminders, Eric Dirksen and Evan Bolak, get in. So first chance for Jenna Nash to showcase his abilities on the national stage.
And I'm sure he would much rather be off hiding somewhere. His shots after 2 periods, 54-18 for Nova Scotia. So thanks, coach, for putting me in. But on the other side, well, throwing him into the fire.
No better way to get noticed than get peppered.
Well, who knows? He could surprise us. Last year at the President's Cup, I'm not sure who the backup goaltender was for Nova Scotia, but came in and put on an absolute show in period number 1 of their first game. After the score was pretty much in doubt at that point, but I wish I could remember his name. Spencer may have it.
Matt Cote, probably, maybe? Or is it Mitch Hannigan? One of the two.
Yeah, I want to say it was Cote, but yeah, I'm not entirely sure. Orange Bucket, I remember that.
Yeah, Matt Cote was
yeah,
it.
There you go. So who knows? Backup goaltender could surprise here yet again as Denny Martin comes in for Saskatchewan, though. Free on YouTube all day thanks to the Toronto Rock. Visit torontorock.com for your 2017 season tickets for Toronto Rock Lacrosse. As period number 2 being brought to you by the Rotary Club of Orangeville, Northline Cabling, and Hallmark Toyota here on game number 2 of the Founders Cup. Last night's primetime game, Orangeville and Coquitlam 11-4, as these two teams also banged up a little bit in their first game of the tournament. Some lopsided goal differentials yesterday, but they look to get back on the correct side. And Nova Scotia, anyways, with their plus 10 so far after 2 periods. Bringing quickly down the far side, Tanner Deck. As the stick falls out of the hands there of Jenna Nash. Our thanks to her for joining us for that intermission interview. Ball bounces off the glass.
It's pretty sloppy here. There we go.
Back down. Kirk Drabel finally runs underneath of it as that one was loose until about center floor. As now Matt Wilson will take it. Wilson to the far side. And And Captain Green already with the hat trick. Last man off the bench. Miscommunication between Nova Scotia. Looked like it confused the Saskatchewan defenders.
Oh.
As it's down, we're going to get a goalie collision here. And Piero, a nod of the head. After Shan Jones ran into him. Shot clock violation, though, as Saskatchewan will take over on the crease. A couple spin moves, and may have been better just to stand in and take that shot for Brendan Bolak. As he slides to the crease, they check the floor. Again, it's still pretty hot in here, although not as humid as it was yesterday.
Just getting started.
Yeah, there was some rain this morning when we woke up. It's just past 12:30 Eastern time here. And if you're back to work in Nova Scotia, we apologize for that. But enjoying some great national championship lacrosse here from Orangeville. Looking for Brown, miscommunication there.
Well, you can watch YouTube at work.
That's what I was going to.
Depends where you work. We've had a few people tell us they can't because of where they work, but it is what it is.
Extra long lunch, you know.
If I can broadcast to YouTube at work.
That's it.
As the ball was in the stick and dropped down there for Tanner Deck, it was flung forward to jar the ball free, and Saskatchewan was looking for the unsportsmanlike penalty there. As first touch for Jenna Nash. Sees the English. Does he get two saves for that one?
Yeah. Nearly a loose ball, at least.
Nearly a big hit for Parker Mikulishin. Again, sitting on 4 minor penalties so far. He'll head off to the bench here, though, as the offense takes to the floor. Jenna Nash up top. Backing away is Ethan Kennedy. Kennedy into the corner. He's got Mitchell Batiste in his face as they work back to the near side. Rolling around is Denny Martin, and he can't quite get to the crease before that shot clock expires. As now Batiste will get it at center, and Nova Scotia will take over. 15.5 left to go. As here's Batiste. And in a normal game, under normal circumstances, the goal to end the game, of course, is to win that game and just have a strong performance. But I think Jenna touched on something in that interview with Spencer where she said it's about, getting some momentum as they head into tomorrow's games as well. Obviously, it's probably going to mean more for Nova Scotia playing Calgary. But it'll be interesting to see both these teams finish this one out here. Again, as we look towards tomorrow's games. As Saskatchewan.
This is no knock on Saskatchewan, but again, they have some difficulties completing plays, completing passes, and kind of have to play a grinding style of game. And it seems like they've almost got Nova Scotia to come to their level here in the third period.
Yeah, and that's something that the coaching staff in Nova Scotia, Chet and Brandon and Harry, are definitely going to talk to the boys about, keeping the pace up, playing at our level, not bringing it down any notches, because we got Calgary tomorrow, and that's a huge game.
So Nova Scotia.
At
No,
the same time, Saskatchewan's also going to pick their game up and start playing at our level.
Well, the other thing to consider, too, the fact that Nova Scotia, as they send it to the crease, the shot and the goal, that one rolls over the right leg of Nash to get into the back of the net. It's now an 11-goal lead. But the thing to consider with that as well is Nova Scotia, again, we keep talking about the powerhouse in this division. I don't think anyone would question it's the Green Gales.
I'll question it. No, I'm just kidding.
But Nova Scotia, they're already done with the Green Gales, and Saskatchewan, looking ahead after today, they face the Green Gales in their final, which I'm not sure if you'd like to get them out of the way in your first game, or
I think so, and that brings up your team's level of play right away, right? And it's obviously not the best. I don't want to call it a practice game, but warm-up game for the tournament to have going in. But if you can finish strong at the end of the tournament with a builder like that, and I think the boys played great yesterday. minus the last 10 minutes of the first period. We'll take away all those breakaways. You got yourself a close game.
In on the crease, Alex Bungay there. Looking for the shot in behind Nash as sticks come up in the corner. Couple whacks there and an open shot. Good look from Brett McGuire again as they continue to bang on the near side. Braylon Fournette involved with Brett Draper. Close to the base of the fan here is now coming over to take over. Fournette's actually going to stay in there. Ball comes into the corner. Now they've got a cutter. Elect to go to the crease man who takes flight, and that one just sends wide. We got a foot race here as Piero will remain in his crease to put the stick on that, and he'll uplet the near side to Alex Taylor, who gets filled in at the bench as they get the warning for the doors to be shut, and we're going to get a penalty here as Tanner Deck came in on his man hard, and it'll be a high sticking call as we saw the open door call yesterday as we had a call for a wipe down here.
I was told there was no warning on that open door call. It's just straight up. It's dangerous, right? You got the play in front there, and they got the doors open. Those are tight or sharp corners. Just takes one hit from behind, and you got yourself a broken collarbone.
Well, not only that, the fact that you're putting an opposing player into the opposition bench.
Right. Yeah.
It did seem, though, on that last one here in this game, it's almost like the person working the door gets a little too caught up watching the play to even realize that they have the door open.
It's such an important – it is a really important role on the bench to make sure you're the last one that can pull a guy back, too, if there's going to be too many men. That's why a lot of times you can't really rely on a backup goalie if you were to do it, because they're going to be ball watching. They get too caught up in the game. They're your biggest cheerleader, right? So
yeah.
But I have seen the backup goalie be the guy who they've got that relationship. If a coach grabs a guy by the collar, it means something different than if your teammate does it and tries to pull him back onto the floor.
Yeah, but it's important. If in the last 2 minutes of the game, that's a penalty shot call, right, on defense. If you throw too many men out, it happened to our midget boys at Nationals this year. Just a little miscommunication and.
Whoa! Wow, a big rip. It's been a while since we've seen Bobby Green score, but he does get number 4 here. We saw the hats earlier.
He loves that underhand shot.
Looks like it.
That was great.
I know coaches don't like it, but I mean, when this is the end result, what can you really say?
Yeah, whatever works.
You'll watch it there on the replay, and it beats
18-8.
Beats the netminder.
And
right
then
on that
2-4 green because they're already short-handed, so therefore he's got 2 minutes illegal equipment.
Oh boy.
You got an illegal equipment penalty.
We had tomorrow's schedule up for you. We've been referencing the rest of today, which again is free thanks to the Toronto Rock. As it looks like we're going to have a Rock Elite League power play coming up. Again, this is tomorrow's schedule to finish out this division and finish out our round robin schedule as Saskatchewan will face the Green Gales. In our first game, we'll put a cap on Division A at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. Tomorrow, Nova Scotia will face Calgary in, I think, what could be a fantastic game to watch, but also a very important game in terms of standings. And then, of course, Coquitlam, Manitoba, and maybe we'll see what happens. One of the fastest and best games of the tournament could be Seneca and Orangeville, but again, we'll wait and see, as we did see some pretty good lacrosse yesterday as well. And today, and we've got how many more days left of this? I mean,
it's still early.
They all seem to run into each other after about game 6, but
most of the time you have sometimes you got a week in between games to recover, right? So having 4 or 5 games in 4 or 5 days is brutal on the body. Like Nova Scotia, we're running with 16 runners right now. We had a guy go down yesterday. Ryan Hebert broke his thumb.
Well, and it's
second shift in the game.
Not like you have an AP down the street that you can call up for this game either, right?
You're allowed to bring 24 players to the tournament. We brought 17. one's down already. He's got to keep everybody healthy, I hope.
The other thing you can use that to your advantage is the fact that you mentioned that tomorrow is a big game against Calgary, who's playing the Green Gales today.
Right.
That's going to be, I'm sure, a physical game, a game that'll take a toll on their bodies. So
definitely, that's
you
a
have
good advantage. That's
you
a
have
good
a
point.
little extra time to recover here today, plus the fact that you didn't have that as intense of a game the day before.
Yeah, exactly.
12 minutes remain here. Period number 3. The underhand shot again from Green has worked 4 times today, but not that time as the shot clock ticks down to 5 as Piero comes out to get it. Green's going to try another one. Oh, I thought he was from center.
Probably should have.
Likes to pass off instead.
Just trying to share the wealth, you know. What is he doing? This is interesting.
Jarrett Nash doing his best Jenna Nash impression. As this one down the floor in front of the Nova Scotia bench. Picked up by Colin Bergloff.
It's a 14-2 call right there.
And it will be a holding call for Alex Bungay, who does head off as Jarrett Nash makes his way back to the bench. Still 45 seconds remaining in the first penalty there, the high stick against Saskatchewan. So we'll be 4-on-4 again, which hasn't been, 5-5 hasn't been kind to Saskatchewan either in this game, but 4-on-4 hasn't been kind to them as there was a big run earlier on 4-on-4 for Nova Scotia. Far side. Kennedy with the shot that Piero saves as a number of players work into the corner and contact there from Nova Scotia. We'll give it straight back to Saskatchewan. As Preston Watke outside the fan. Big pick down low. As Saskatchewan trying to work it in for Jenna Nash. She can't hang on. It's in the corner for Denny Martin. Picked up and down floor. Brett McGuire winning the foot race against Kennedy. And out of the box, joining the rush late is Liam McMaster, who had that equipment penalty. And I'm not sure what the equipment minor was unless the chin strap came off, because it doesn't look like he's changed anything or, say, taken jewelry off or anything like that. As a shot from outside, no goal called, too many men, as there's a 6th Saskatchewan player up top, takes one off the board. And Chris, I think that was you talking about the open or the front door.
Yeah. See if Jenna was the one who jumped out there, but
it was like that for the entire set.
The door was open, man. Yeah. Well, sometimes you forget that you're on a power play, you're shorthanded, and you look out on the floor, there's 4 guys, and then somebody has to be a hero and jump on, right? But get you in some trouble.
Well, she's usually in that power play set, so it depends what line it was. Obviously, we don't know who's at fault unless somebody jumped before that. But there's Conor Clel. If it is the 3rd hat trick of the game, Chris, you've got a hat. Can you reach the floor from here?
81, 15, 10.
We know they give them back.
It's true. No, they'll probably keep my hat. They like it.
But there it is. That makes the lead 13. Again, we're keeping an eye on the goal differential here. The end result, not as important. It's going to put Saskatchewan down 0-2 if it stays like this. As we're making our final call for 3 stars, tweet us at JVI Video. Use the hashtag 3stars, or the YouTube chat room is open. Find out a way to get in touch with us if you're watching this game, and
consider the Tall boys too in there. They're working hard.
Yeah, they've
already.
They're going to have a long game. We'll save them for the 8 p.m. because
last night they had a big sweat on there. They were going back to that left corner about every 2 minutes.
And credit to the arena staff as well. As soon as that game was over, they got the lights out. They got the sweepers down on the floor. I mean, they've been taking care of it as best as they could. Yeah. But very humid thunderstorm weather yesterday. The rain seems to have cleared out. We can see sunshine out the window here, but we'll see. Jenna Nash, the only one back, and looks like Saskatchewan may be gassing a little bit here as Nova Scotia, just 2 players run past 2 defenders for Saskatchewan to put that one home, and now it's a 14 differential.
Brett McGuire puts that one home, and he's really stood out to me as a player who has got some tremendous speed. We saw it on display here as he just gets away from everyone else.
23-96, unless you've seen different.
Only
yeah?
one defender back.
Okay.
Unless you see different.
He's a guy who has experience playing in Ontario as well, I believe. I can't remember what team he was playing for. I'll try to find that out for you for tomorrow. Good head on his shoulders, though. Being a leader.
Ontario's got their own little farm system there with the Sanderson connection in Nova Scotia.
Oh, yeah, it's a different way of recruiting now. Even Chet Konechny, like he's got pro experience. Obviously, Sanderson has pro experience. Harry Baker, he's a great goalie himself, so he's adding a lot on the bench now that he's finally done his car troubles. He was stranded in Quebec there for a few days, but they finally came in last night.
Well, there are worse places to be stranded, I think.
Oh, but we're talking like outskirts of Quebec, like almost in New Brunswick still.
Yeah.
Not that there's anything wrong with that, but I can't imagine there's too many things to do. They couldn't even find an English mechanic for the car. They had no idea what they were saying. 2 of them don't speak French.
Well, I have an English mechanic, and I don't know what he's saying when he talks about my car.
Gibberish.
All they ever tell you is that you got to pay more.
Yeah, $2,000 later, then you figure it out, right?
Yeah.
But they had to leave the car there, wherever it was. Took the bus. I don't know how long. It had to be 24 hours on a bus yesterday for them, stopping in every little town.
The stories of national championships, ladies and gentlemen.
The log they hit was massive. Oh. Took out the rad and friggin', I don't know, they were leaking everything. They drugged the log for a kilometer, they said, too. The thing's about the size of 4 1-liter jug or 4-liter jugs of water.
Okay, this guy's not driving like a Volkswagen Jetta. They don't sponsor us, but nothing against Volkswagen, but there's no way.
I don't know what they were driving, but it was actually Chris Taylor, LT's dad's car, so it's all insured. It's all good to go in about a week.
Another Rock Elite League power play here for Nova Scotia. As Green up the top, working in the right side first, and I imagine they'll try and get everyone a touch here, and they do. All 5 have touched it in miscommunication as they came through the middle. That pass through 2 white jerseys into the crease, though. Nice recovery from Alex Taylor. Gets a good scoring chance out of it. And, oh, no. Nova Scotia player trips in on the crease, and
is this guy serious?
Gets back up Alex Taylor. As that looked like we were almost in need of a wipe down there in the crease, but Taylor will go down and looks like just shake that off, but that looked real bad when that started. Big bump to the far side now as Jenna Nash goes down. Close to the over and back line, though, as Arliss McCloy.
We will get that wipe down.
And now we will get the wipe in the crease.
How can they blow it down when we have a fast break like that? I don't understand. Whatever.
Well, with it in the crease,
oh,
you're right. The time to do that probably was when they were lying down in the crease. It's not that I don't mind that call. Anyways, here's the standings in Group A, where we play right now. Nova Scotia, Saskatchewan again. The 0-1 record for both of these 2 teams looks like Saskatchewan will go 0-2. Calgary and the Green Gales play each other later today, as Nova Scotia looks like they'll go 1-1. One of those 2 teams will go 1-1, and it's already a 14-goal advantage. So as one of those teams goes 1-1, either the +10 or the +15 will shrink, as it's now a +4 on the tournament for Nova Scotia. So who knows if Calgary wins by 6. A lot of calculations way above my pay grade that need to be done, but
day by day,
where we continue to watch the game records and the goal differential battle. And, of course, it may just come down to tomorrow afternoon when Nova Scotia plays Calgary Chill.
I think it's going to be a good game.
Both of those two teams could be playing for their tournament. And we were impressed with Calgary yesterday, as this one will get blown back into the Saskatchewan zone. They had thoughts of a fast break. I think if Tanner Deck catches that on the fly, they let it go, but definitely not as he's trying to catch up to it, racing in by himself. But 5.5 left to play in this one. We're about to go back to 5-on-5. As this one gets down the floor. Our post-game show upcoming, brought to you by the Toronto Rock Athletic Center. We'll include our 3 stars and the official tournament players of the game from each team, which is always a little nervous for us because if you pick the wrong guy for the 3 stars and they name somebody else, you wonder who made the error in judgment. But, of course, we take your votes into consideration. No minor interference there. As Colin Bergloff plays it. The shot clock horn goes.
We're going to nail it.
Shouldn't be much of a surprise here today.
No.
As Darrow, a nice save, working to his right. But that was a bit of a confusing play as Nova Scotia thought there was going to be interference as they're going to end up with a breakaway down the other way and a right arm save made there by Jenna Nash. The shots were, what were they, 54-18 heading into the period, and
something like that.
They've continued to keep the pace up here.
It's a lot of rubber.
Have Saskatchewan, or Nova Scotia, pardon me. It's a lot one way to not a lot going the other way. As the Seneca War Chiefs now in the house, getting set for their game coming up at 2 p.m. Eastern time.
Win or lose, Seneca's got sick jerseys. Lime green and purple, that's like,
yeah,
it's pretty sharp. And they got their own team bus here. I don't know where they got all the money. Well,
that bus was hard to miss in the parking lot.
Yeah.
It's pretty neat for a Junior B franchise to have a custom bus. And
well, we were talking about that yesterday, the fact that teams like Coquitlam and Manitoba, flew in yesterday, spent the whole day either on an airplane or in an airport, came straight to the arena for practice 2 days ago. Seneca, it's just a quick drive from New York, maybe about 3 hours, in their own probably air-conditioned bus.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
Had a good rest in the hotel, and then they came in for their practice. It was definitely the most spirited of the team practices that we saw anyways. That's good one-man defense here from Shane Jones, rolling it into the corner. As now the offense coming in to help out. As 2.5 minutes here, 14-goal advantage for Nova Scotia over Saskatchewan. That'll put, again, Nova Scotia as it stands right now at a +4 in the tournament. As they go to the crease, and in the crease, Piero made the save anyways, so that call won't matter, but a couple good saves now from Piero in the last few minutes going to his right to keep it where it is. And we've talked a little bit about his game, the fact that he hasn't been relied on, but these are huge stops in the overall tournament picture as we keep an eye on that goal differential number. 2-minute warning here, third period.
So I got a text. Some people are wondering what time the bar opens today, and that was an hour ago. So $4 beers.
You're only 1 hour late today.
1 hour late today, yeah. We got the early game.
Early game again tomorrow, so we'll get you out of here quick. Tomorrow, Chris, try and get you in there on time, eh?
Yeah, well, yeah, I think, 2 o'clock game tomorrow?
Yeah, that's right.
I should make it in there by 4, eh?
As long as we don't see Chris in there before the game, then we're good.
Well, that would be interesting, wouldn't it?
Or during the game. If you can't find him, he disappears.
Well, I'm right behind you.
Can we run an extra court? Never mind.
Yeah, you didn't notice. He already singled back to the bartender.
There's going to be a tap here tomorrow, actually, in our booth.
Well, then I'm definitely calling that game.
Yeah.
A big slip in the corner, though, here from Nova Scotia, and they go hard on the man in the corner. And Matt Califf thought about it and then put the arm high. I believe it's going to be a high stick. And there was a bit of a stutter on that left arm, and I think that's – I don't disagree with the call, but the fact that there was a hesitation there is why the objection comes.
16-2 game, he might have been able to let it go, but at the same time, you don't want people to think it's okay to be jamming people's heads into the board, right?
Well, especially with a minute 10 to go.
Yeah, you got to keep control too.
Exactly. Yeah. You let that go with a minute to go, then the final minute could be a war.
Yeah, we could be in for an interesting final. But 2 p.m. game, Coquitlam Adenac Seneca War Chiefs, as we start to switch gears here and look at Group B action in less than an hour's time here on the JVI Sports Network. Free, thanks to the Toronto Rock. We thank all of you for watching as we are in the final minute here. Gaëtan Tremblay as Nova Scotia trying to add a couple more here, or at least keep it where it is. Again, the overall pitcher looking for that goal differential mark. Picked up maybe a little too cute from McGuire, going around the shoulder as Dalton Brown has to chase it down in the corner. Coming back, though, the shot and the save from Nash. And with 26.1 left, Nova Scotia will get another chance. Carvery into the corner. Green now taking the floor as the last man. Has it here. Time for one more patented sub shot. Far side, Brett McGuire working through. They elect to go to Trey Carvery instead. And that will cut that goal differential to a 5, as it's now +5 for Nova Scotia. Green Gales coming into their matchup today at a +10 and a +15.
7-23-18
for the Calgary Blizzard.
The ball.
As those two teams play each other later today. I don't know. I was going to say Nova Scotia becomes a Green Gales fan, but maybe you're a Calgary fan as you're closer to Green Gales. I don't know.
The one thing is, if Calgary loses, then you kind of can decide your own fate with that game tomorrow.
Yeah, which is kind of expecting that's the plan, right?
Bit of a tie-up back at the face-off line, but nothing more comes of that, as we'll get handshakes inside the Alder Street Arena. 17-2, the final score here. The Nova Scotia team over Saskatchewan SWAT to end game number 1. First of 4 here on the JVI Sports Network from the 2016 Founders Cup. And we talked about it off the top, the fact that Nova Scotia hadn't played in about a month. Some of these players, as we look at our 3 stars, and a lot of call for Jenna Nash to be our 3rd star, and we heard you loud and clear. There she is.
I think it's deserved. She took a beating out there and also scored the first goal for the SWAT, so good on her.
Pretty good demonstration of that shot in our interview as well.
Absolutely. Second star, we went with Matt Wilson, who had a 5-point game, 3 goals and 2 assists for Wilson. And the first star, not hard to figure out, he had the most goals for Team Nova Scotia. Bobby Green, 4-goal game, 5 points overall.
Yeah, got the hat trick out of the way early, and then took a while to get the next one as he backed off and let a couple of teammates take over the scoring. We'll let the teams finish the handshake line and get lined up for the official tournament players of the game nominations.
This is the
representatives.
This is the interesting part, though, for us, because we picked the 3 stars, and if the player of the games don't match up with our 3-star selections, then, well,
they're wrong.
They're wrong.
Then
exactly.
they look foolish. That's right.
We just.
Oh, speaking of the bus, there it is. Seneca War Chiefs sit 1-0 after their victory yesterday. They'll face the Coquitlam Adenacs coming up next. And again, that's about 54 minutes away. And there it is, Jenna Nash. We got one right. We're 1 for 2 right now. As Jenna Nash named the player of the game, you can see, obviously happy to get that award, but overall pitcher, it's kind of a look of disappointment on her face and the faces of the Saskatchewan players.
It's a team thing, right? You want to win.
As dropping, as we said, 0-2 now as they face the Green Gales tomorrow.
Well, I'm not going to
they were
disagree.
wrong.
I'm not going to disagree, though, that Brett McGuire deserves some consideration because I thought he was
he's a beauty.
fantastic.
Well, we did see 17 goals, so there's a number of guys that could have been on either of these lists.
Oh, definitely.
Two
either
from
ours
this
or the
man,
official
so.
one. So
He might have 10 assists. We don't know, I guess.
Just checking the final box score, and just two goals for McGuire. I shouldn't say just 2 goals. He did score twice.
oh, how dare he? Just 2. Why didn't he get the hat trick?
Oh,
Three other
an
players.
assist. Also got an assist. So
Oh, there you go.
3
Okay.
points.
Oh, well,
Solid player,
that
though. I
makes
think
all the difference.
That won't be the last you see of Bobby Green either. Maybe that's just a little. The coaches actually pick their own player of the game, right?
1:07 is the time on the clock here in the Alder Street Arena, set for a 2 o'clock Eastern time match between the Seneca War Chiefs and the Coquitlam Atanaks. We will have that game for you here on the JVI Sports Network on our YouTube channel, free, thanks to the folks at the Toronto Rock. On behalf of Spencer Tangway, your host, Mark McKelvey and Chris Soucy, and the rest of our JVI Sports Network crew, I am Matthew Carrick. I'll step aside. Mark McKelvey will be back with the call. Game number 2 comes your way next from the 2016 Founders Cup on the JVI Sports Network.